Why is it that people don't bother to? Lazy, that's one good thing. What else?
And another ego.
Ego's another thing. Good, good, good. Because really, if you do some work, you're going to come across things like he just came across. And then something you didn't see before, something you didn't know before, something you weren't privileged to come across before. That abstract is going to come in with something that you probably gathered 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And it'll fit in piece by piece until finally one day you may actually wake up one morning and say, oh, that's what that's talking about. And for some reason we want to just listen to somebody that comes along and tells us what it's talking about. No, you got to figure that out from inside. We got to do some real work to get there. Let's see. I'll tell you what. We're dealing with self, so let's deal with that for a moment before we keep on. So part of self is this elf. And this elf is this thinking thing. And it's somewhere inside of you. Now, you know what? It could be, when they're talking about self, it's possible that they're talking about the brain. It's possible. And that the brain is the little me. The brain. Not the little I. The little me.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's part of the thing. It's part of the me, the object. The brain is, not the mind. Now here's what's really so weird. Because all of your life, you were taught, from the time you were a little one, that the brain and the mind are the same thing. You never could figure it out. What's really going on? So since you thought the brain and the mind were the same thing, and that the mind was in the brain, you thought that there was something out there in the clouds somewhere thinking for you. Because you didn't have nothing to think with. It was out there behind the clouds somewhere. And it provided you with a destiny. It did everything that needed to be done for your existence. You know what that makes you? A zip damn fool. If you're going to be here with this much going for you all this time, and you're never going to think for yourself, you are a zip damn fool. Isn't that something? Now, most of us won't admit that. I think one of you alluded to that earlier. I think you said that there's this thing called the ego that, oh, well, this is going to get confusing because the ego is actually the I. The I. That part of self that is the I.
I did that word.
Did you?
And I came up with I. It took me to, but I kept coming back to self.
Good.
Or I.
Good.
I'm also seeing God in it.
Good, no problem. You know what? You can see God. Me, I ain't never seen him a day in my life.
I mean, in the word, I'm saying, I see.
No problem. Because now if you're seeing this as a subject and you're learning how to see through the imago, then maybe you're using God to see God. I got no problem with that. But if you're doing like so many people have been doing all my life, they actually see walking down the street and don't think that's Jesus. That's God. Oh, am I wrong about this? You mean to tell me when y'all was seeing Jesus, y'all wasn't seeing God? Hello? Oh, you were? Isn't that something? And didn't you see a blonde-haired people walking down the street? This is strange. But when you really learn to see this thing called God, you're looking at the invisible.
Take your time.
Now, how did you learn to see the invisible? See, now we're going to get into like what that boy was talking about last week. I looked in the mirror and I looked behind the eyes and see, all of a sudden something not going to add up. See, I want to know how you're learning to see God. If we can establish that God is invisible, how are you learning to see God? Because if you are actually thinking, well, you can't see the invisible, well, now we're going to have some problems with our brain. You see, because there's a thought going on in our brain that is contrary to the thought that's going on in our brain. And all this is real. And what's going to happen is you're going to get an argument. And you're not going to know there's an argument going on. Because there's a part of you that says, well, I believe. But then there's a part of you that's saying, you know what, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so now you've got a conflict going on. And now you're going day after day for the rest of your life. You're growing through your life with this constant conflict going on. Because you actually got a man walking on water. And the reason that the man is walking on water is because the man is God. And God can do that, you know. God can walk on water. Ain't that something? See, I would suggest to you that you've involved yourself in a mental conflict that you're having inside of you, and that's going on inside of you, and you won't bother to work it out. How do you work it out? If it's conflict, should it be worked out?
Yep.
What if the conflict is going on all of your life, and even when you lie, and all of a sudden you put on a dashiki, you know, and you get you a red, black, and green necklace around your neck, and you get to talking all that old nonsense, you're lying. But is the lying going to actually work out the conflict for you?
No.
That you're having inside of
It
yourself?
goes in the shadow.
Oh, he now says it goes in the shadow. And eventually, I am suggesting to everyone in this room that as y'all really start doing the work, one day, we're going to really be able to discuss this thing that he keeps alluding to that's called shadow. See, when I first learned it, I didn't really learn it to the degree that they're teaching it now, shadow. I learned it the way the person who invented it actually was talking about it. He was talking about pure evil. Pure,
It's still
out and out evil. I understand. I understand that it is. But I'm suggesting that we have to wait, those of us who are working with what we're doing, before we talk about this evil. See, because right now we can't even solve the basic conflicts that the brain is going on with itself about self. We actually think that we can, how do they do it? We can come into a room, pour libations, and commune with our ancestors in the West, and in the East, and in the North, and in the South. And when they, and what ancestors do they commune with, as a matter of fact? Anybody know? Who? Malcolm X? Who?
They evoke those names, yeah.
Malcolm? Who else?
Harriet Tubman.
Martin, Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, Fannie Lou. Y'all, this is what they evoke, right? Now, I'm just trying to figure this out. Now, this person who's doing this is saying that they're communicating with these spirits, right? Anybody in here ever blow a dog whistle?
Yeah, I am.
You hear it?
No, you can't.
You can't hear it. Does that mean he can't hear it? Because you can't hear it?
No, I don't know.
Right. So he might be able to hear it.
If it's here.
So there may be a way that you can train yourself to hear dog whistles. As a matter of fact, there may be a way that you can train yourself to beat lie detector tests. There may be a way that you can train yourself to actually see different frequencies or auras of color around the body. There may be a way you can train yourself to do some of the things that people are talking about.
You remember that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. So there may be a way that you can actually rub your hands together and actually cause the kind of frequency that you need to cause in order to cause your body to send and receive energy. It's possible.
Where is this knowledge in?
In Tibet,
That's right.
in China, in Africa, it's at, it may be at the local church, I don't know. St. Anne's or something. St. Mary's, you know, the priest. It's with any magician that has been practicing magic
CIA.
all of his life.
CIA,
I saw it on
like he knows a lie detector test.
it's like a History Channel.
It could be TV. I bet you get that finger close enough to the TV. It's an open enough TV. You gonna get some. You gonna feel something.
It's
everywhere.
Whatever.
All we're talking about is energy.
Varying degrees of heat.
That's all we're talking
It was
about.
really interesting.
Your perception of energy is what you have to deal with. I can't tell you how to do something. Let me even go one step further. The average parent who wants to help a child to learn, I'll give you a little clue that I would provide to those who are studying with me. I would tell them, read all of the books that have been done about Tiger Woods' father. Read any books that you can find that have been done about Tiger Woods' father. And then you may find the information that you're asking me for. That's the best I can do. I would say to you, I tell you what, if you really want to find the information that you just asked me about, go and find some work on how rabbis are taught to be rabbis, how priests are taught to be priests. That's what you can do. Matter of fact, I think we have don't we have a disc with the technology of power on it?
Yeah. Yes.
Go read that.
I already get it?
Well, then read it. Would you ask me a question? What's the question you asked me?
No, I just said, where is that knowledge at?
You already got it. That's what you just said. In that, I think in that book, there is an outline about how you teach a child to be able to do what we're talking about. It's in that book.
It was on the disc. It must be the wrong one.
No, if it's on a disc, that's a book on the disc. That is a book on the disc. There's 3 books on that disc. What else is on there besides Occult Technology Power?
Okay, y'all.
That's another book.
And that's it.
It's Uncle Yaya, Occult Technology Power. Should be one more on that disc.
Should be, as man think about that.
Is that man thinking on that disc?
Alphabet.
Oh, it's the alphabet. It's on that disc?
Yeah.
Okay. The structure of the alphabet should be.
Esoteric structure.
Okay. So now go in and read the book. Now I would also say to you that if you're reading these particular books, you don't want to, I don't think you should. I don't think you should read things you're not ready for. In other words, it may not be time for you to read the esoteric structure yet. Just start out with something like the alphabet book and learning the alphabet before you start reading something like this over here. Here's something that a person who had spent a lifetime teaching themselves secrets that the average ones of you is not going to ever come across, and got all this information that you came to some conclusions, and now you're going to accept those conclusions as if you understand them. You don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to do that to yourself. At least I advise against it. You about to ask something, Brother Kevin, to say something?
I'm just listening though.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say something.
I agree with you, Dr. Black.
Good, I hope so. If you disagree, say that too, no
No,
problem.
I agree. I once heard someone say the initiates that were trying to become priests had to be initiates for 30, 40 years before
Is
they
that right? Who said that?
I just heard a guy say
I know, 9 times out of 10, it was in a movie. You know. So, and half the time the writers that write the movies and the scripts, they don't really know what is being talked about. You know, we repeat what we saw somewhere or heard somebody say as if we understand. You know, I'm on the internet on Facebook all the time, and I'm just, so many people are writing and saying all kind of pretty stuff like they really understand it. And I know it's a lie. Matter of fact, because we don't want to run out of time, do we? How have you been doing? You studied with me this summer. Did you learn anything?
Yes.
Well, one thing you should have learned is how not to mumble and how not to speak in a little soft voice. Okay, that's better. Now, Brother Brandon, you knew I was coming, didn't you?
I was hoping you wasn't gonna come.
Okay, now, the reason I'm here, I don't want you to think that I'm picking on you,
All right.
but I want you to get ready. Because you're about to go through some things, and I don't think you really understand what you're about to go through. You're putting yourself in that position to go through this. So on one hand, I want to just say, well, have a nice day. Then on the other hand, I'm thinking, you're worth actually trying to get through this, all right? So, have you ever thought about taking martial arts?
No.
No. Well, let me ask you a question. If you did, have you ever played football?
Yes.
You did, good.
Till they start whooping me.
Huh?
Till they start whooping me.
Who was whooping?
Coaches.
Okay, I understand. Well, a lot of times, a lot of people that did get, like O.J. Simpson, become expert football players, they got whooped by their coaches. And especially in martial arts, in a lot of cases, people engage in the practice of learning martial arts, and that, just the learning is a practice. I'm not even talking about the practice of martial arts. I'm saying as you start to learn martial arts, it is a practice, okay? Sometimes you're gonna have to get ready for swollen lip, broken nose, broken collarbones. You know, in other words, sometimes you're actually gonna suffer getting hit upside the head. You understand? Now that's physical martial arts. I'm telling you that the same thing that we're talking about, let's use it metaphorically speaking, for mental martial arts, it's going to be worse. You understand? Your person who's going to guide you through this is going to do a lot more than bust your lip. Are you following me? That's what time it is. And now listen, here's what I need you to do for me. I think you posted somewhere about Jesus' geometry. Here's the, come on, get up. Show everybody. Can you have, just show everyone.
It would be best if I show with my folder, my work.
Where's your folder?
It's on the internet.
Pull it out from your brain. Let's go. Just wipe, does anybody get it? You need to wipe it off? I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying well.
I'm taking it out of context now.
No, I'm not. I know what you're saying with that too. I'm telling you that in your brain, you have the capacity.
But that's not my way of
Let me
sharing.
show you. Let me show you.
My way of sharing is
Let me show you. Let me show you. You see this right here? You see this right here?
Yes, sir.
You gotta start. You're gonna have to figure this out. All right? You see this right here? What did I just say?
360 square.
What kind of? But what did I just say? See what you're saying on Facebook and what you're trying to share with people is this right here.
Right.
All right. So say it to me. What is this right here?
Square in a circle?
That's the Tetragrammaton. Okay. So I think you said Jesus is geometry.
Right.
Didn't you? Well, guess what you just said when you said this right here?
What did I say?
Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton is the word Jesus. It is the word Jesus. You follow me?
Right.
Now, I'm not trying to pick on you. I want you to learn this so that you can truly understand how to transmit what you're transmitting on Facebook. But, like you're transmitting on Facebook, how old are you?
10.
You got to be able to transmit it to a 10-year-old child.
Okay.
You understand? And the more intelligent that they are on Facebook,
That's
the harder it's going to get. The harder this is going to be. You see, because the more intelligent that they are, you're going to run into people who are going to know when you know what you're talking about and when you don't. You follow me? But now the object is what you're learning. See, that's what we need to be able to transmit. We gotta make sure that she understands what an axiomatic equation is. That's what you're looking at. You see this right here? This is the word Jesus. Very few people know that. That is the word Jesus.
So if one denies that being the word of Jesus, then
They don't know. They don't know. But understand, why is there so many people swear they know all about Jesus and they don't know that the word Jesus is the word tetragrammaton? Or those 4 little letters. What are the 4 letters? But they have no clue that those 4 letters is the word Jesus.
Dr. Blake, I showed that.
Yes, you did. But then I asked you to come up here on this board and show that.
That's not my way of sharing it.
I understand.
It's your way of sharing it.
Oh,
What's your way of sharing it?
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yes.
What's the difference in putting it on Facebook?
That's my way of sharing
No.
it.
I
Facebook.
asked the question.
The difference is that's my way.
I'm asking, my question is really simple.
I don't do public teaching, public sharing. I do it through Facebook.
World Wide Web? Can you get more public than the World Wide Web?
But that's my way. That's my process.
and that's right. And that is your process.
Yeah.
And we
I
want
have
you-
the freedom to do that.
Absolutely. I wasn't doubting your freedoms. All I'm saying is, and probably everyone else in this room understands. I'm just saying, I don't understand. What's the difference if you would share it with the world and...
I'm able to think. I'm able to take my time and put it together.
Okay,
other than being
now-
where
on
you're
the
not in
spot.
front of a live
Yeah.
audience.
Brandon, hold on.
All right, I get it.
Over a period of time, as we do this, over a period of time, you are going to learn how to go in front of 1,000 people.
That's what I want to do, but that's not how I do it
I
now.
understand. No problem, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go nice and slow. Even though you think I'm taking you kind of fast, all of a sudden. You see, I don't take people hurriedly. Step by step. I have asked everyone to do this step by step. So I'm still asking you to do this step by step. So I must have a reason for asking you to do certain things I'm asking you to do. You understand?
Address that on red for you.
I understand. Now, I'm saying to you, relax. I got you. Don't worry. But before this is over with, you are going to know